Failure is not the only enemy of your potential. Sometimes failure protects you by showing you where you are weak. Success may expose you before you have learned how to carry what you ask for. And that is why premature success can be more dangerous than temporary failure. Think about a building. A beautiful door can attract your attention. It can open and admit you into the room. But the door does not support the building. The foundation does. Your gift is like the door. It can introduce you to opportunity. Character is the foundation. It determines whether your life can support the weight that opportunity brings. Remember this principle. Ability may create access, but character determines endurance. Many people are praying for access. They want promotion, influence, money, recognition, authority, and a larger platform. But the important question is not, can I enter? The important question is, can I remain trustworthy after I enter? You may have enough ability to impress people, but do you have enough discipline to serve them? You may have enough charisma to attract followers, but do you have enough integrity to protect them? You may have enough talent to receive money, but do you have enough self-government to manage it? You may have enough vision to build something large, but do you have enough character to refuse the temptations that arrive with growth? Opportunity is responsibility arriving in visible form. It looks like a blessing, but it carries weight. A larger platform brings greater pressure. Greater influence brings greater scrutiny. Greater access brings greater temptation. Greater authority brings greater consequences. Everything you receive must be managed, and whatever you refuse to manage will eventually begin managing you. This is why leadership does not begin with controlling an organization. Leadership begins with governing yourself. Before you manage the public opportunity, you must manage the private appetite. Before you carry the title, you must carry responsibility. Before you ask for more, you must create order in what you already possess. Now examine yourself honestly. If every door you have been praying for opened tomorrow, what would walk through that door with you? Would your insecurity enter with you? Would your need for approval enter with you? Would your secret dishonesty, unmanaged anger, careless spending, broken promises, or lack of restraint enter with you? A new room does not create a new person. It merely gives the existing person more space in which to operate. The goal then is not merely to become gifted enough to enter. The goal is to become trustworthy enough to remain. We must identify the acceleration gap between public opportunity and private maturity. We must examine the small tests that reveal readiness. And we must build safeguards before success makes us believe we no longer need them. But first, we must separate four qualities people constantly confuse: gift, skill, reputation, and character. They are related, but they are not the same. First, gift. A gift is deposited capacity. It is an ability placed within you before you have fully developed it. A child may possess an unusual ear for music before understanding theory. A young person may influence a room before studying leadership. The capacity is present, but capacity is not maturity. Gift tells us what may be possible. It does not tell us whether the person can be trusted. Second, skill. Skill is trained gift. It is capacity submitted to instruction, practice, correction, and responsible use. Gift may give you the raw material, but skill determines how effectively you handle it. You can be gifted and still be unskilled because development requires cooperation. Potential must be given responsibility. It must be exercised, corrected, and refined. Third, reputation. Reputation is the picture of you that exists in the minds of other people. It is formed by what they have seen, what they have heard, and sometimes what you have carefully allowed them to see. Reputation may be accurate, but it may also be incomplete. People can know your performance without knowing your principles. They can recognize your name without understanding your nature. Fourth, character. This is very important. Character is the settled pattern of values that governs your conduct. It is who you consistently choose to be when compromise is convenient, pressure is intense, and nobody appears to be watching. Character is not what you announce. Character is what remains when applause, supervision, and reward disappear. Think about a tree. Gift is the seed containing hidden possibility. Skill is the cultivated growth produced by training and care. Reputation is the visible spread of the branches, the part everybody admires. But character is the root system. Roots are hidden, my friends. But hidden does not mean unimportant. When the storm comes, the branches do not negotiate with the wind. The roots determine what remains standing. Now watch the counterfeits. Charisma can resemble character for a little while because both can inspire confidence. But charisma attracts people. Character protects them. A polished performance can manufacture a reputation. Public success can even conceal private disorder. That is why applause is not evidence of integrity, popularity is not proof of principle, and visibility is not verification of maturity. Write this down. Beliefs shape values. Values govern choices. Choices repeated become habits, and habits reveal character. Character is not formed in one grand moment. It is disclosed through 1,000 ordinary decisions. So ask yourself 4 different questions. What can I do? That identifies gift. How well have I developed it? That measures skill. What do people believe about me? That describes reputation. But who am I when their belief can neither reward me nor restrain me? That reveals character. You may admire talent without surrendering judgment. You may respect skill without automatically granting authority. Excellence in performance proves preparation for a task. It does not prove integrity in a life. And once these 4 qualities are separated, the danger becomes clear. Your gift, skill, and reputation can grow publicly much faster than your character grows privately. That distance is the acceleration gap. The acceleration gap is the distance between the speed of your public advancement and the speed of your private development. Your gift can move quickly. Character normally grows slowly. One remarkable performance can change your life overnight. One speech, one song, one invention, one business decision, one moment of courage, and suddenly people are calling your name. Money arrives. Invitations arrive. Authority arrives. Admiration arrives. But attention can come in a day while character requires years of repeated decisions. Why? Because gift can be displayed in a moment, but character must be demonstrated over time. You cannot prove consistency once. You cannot prove faithfulness in one afternoon. Character must survive changing seasons, praise and criticism, abundance and scarcity, visibility and obscurity, convenience and pressure. Think about a building. Suppose a developer keeps adding new floors because people admire the view, but nobody reinforces the foundation. Is that progress? No. The building is becoming taller, but it is also becoming more dangerous. Every new floor adds weight. Every new floor increases the consequences of structural failure. Write this down. Growth without reinforcement is organized collapse. That is why elevation is not merely favor. Elevation is trust. When your influence increases, more people become exposed to your decisions. When your resources increase, more value becomes subject to your judgment. When your authority increases, other people's opportunities, livelihoods, confidence, and futures may be affected by your private choices. Everything entrusted to you requires management. Time requires management. Money requires management. Relationships require management. Health requires management. Opportunity requires management. Even your gift requires management. A gift you refuse to govern will eventually begin governing you. You will serve the attention it produces, protect the image it creates, and compromise to preserve the access it provides. Now watch. Promotion does not cure immaturity. A title cannot discipline your emotions. A larger income cannot make you honest. A platform cannot teach you restraint. Promotion only increases the size of the responsibility handled by the same person. So compare your rates of growth. Is your audience growing faster than your accountability? Is your income growing faster than your stewardship? Is your authority growing faster than your humility? Is your schedule becoming more demanding while your routines become less disciplined? Are more people trusting you while fewer people are permitted to correct you? My friends, speed can turn potential into exposure. Do not resent every delay. Sometimes delay is not denial, it is protection. The opportunity may be ready while the structure required to sustain it is still under construction. Use that season. Reinforce the foundation. Establish the habits. Tell the truth. Receive correction. Learn to govern what is already in your hands. Your platform should never grow beyond your willingness to manage yourself, because the acceleration gap becomes most dangerous when success supplies an undeveloped weakness with greater reach. Success does not remove what is hiding inside you. It magnifies it. Success is a magnifying glass. What does a magnifying glass do? It does not manufacture what is there. It enlarges what is already there so you can see it more clearly. In the same way, success increases both the visibility and the operating range of your inner condition. If insecurity is present before promotion, applause may soothe it temporarily. But praise is dangerous medicine because the dose must keep increasing. Soon, correction feels like rejection. Disagreement feels like disloyalty. The leader stops asking, "Is this true?" and starts asking, "How dare you question me?" Gifted person, successful person, no inner security. Now, watch entitlement. When talented people repeatedly receive special treatment, they can begin to believe that their results exempt them from rules. Everyone else must arrive on time, account for money, respect boundaries, and answer difficult questions, but not the star. Why? Because I produce. My friends, performance does not cancel principle. The moment your gift places you above accountability, that gift has become a threat to your future. Then there is dishonesty. Before success, it may appear as one concealed fact, one altered number, one carefully edited explanation. But when income, reputation, employees, and public confidence depend on the image, a private habit of concealment can become an entire system of deception. One lie now needs a department to protect it. And consider appetite. An unmanaged impulse with no resources may seem harmless because it lacks opportunity. Give that same impulse money, privacy, travel, access, and people afraid to say no, and suddenly the weakness has transportation. Success did not create the appetite. Success equipped it. Approval-seeking works the same way. Influence is supposed to increase service, but an insecure leader can turn service into performance. Decisions are no longer governed by purpose or principle. They are governed by applause. The assignment becomes secondary. Maintaining admiration becomes the real mission. Write this down. Success does not heal character. Success tests character. This is why there is good success and bad success. If you gain a title but lose your peace, that is not whole success. If you increase your income while destroying your family, compromising your integrity, and abandoning your purpose, do not let the office fool you. Advancement is not automatically success. Sometimes it is failure wearing expensive clothing. Principles carry consequences within them. You may violate a standard and appear to profit for a season, but disorder has already entered the structure. Trust begins to erode. Secrecy multiplies. Relationships weaken. Eventually, what was hidden becomes too heavy to contain. So ask yourself, if success enlarged you today, what would it enlarge? Service or ego? Generosity or appetite? Truth or image management? Humility or entitlement? Do not ask success to cure what discipline has not confronted. Success is not medicine for the inner life. It is pressure, reach, and exposure. And if large success reveals character, then ordinary life is already giving you smaller examinations that show whether you are ready. Large responsibility rarely creates a different person. It reveals the person your small responsibilities have been training. This is the little before much principle. What you do with the ordinary predicts what you will do with the extraordinary. First, examine your promises. Do you arrive when you said you would arrive? Do you complete what you agreed to complete? When circumstances change, do you communicate honestly, or do you disappear and return later with a beautiful excuse? Integrity is not merely avoiding lies. Integrity is bringing your conduct into agreement with your word. A person who casually breaks small promises is rehearsing unreliability. The promise may be small, but the pattern is not. Second, examine your response to correction. Humility does not require you to accept every opinion without thought. You must retain discernment. But if every correction produces defensiveness, blame, anger, or withdrawal, refinement becomes impossible. A person who cannot be corrected privately will eventually be exposed publicly. Correction is not always rejection. Sometimes correction is protection, wearing uncomfortable clothing. Third, examine money. Can you account for what is already in your hands? Do you know where it goes? Do you honor obligations before satisfying appetite? Some people say, if I had more money, I would manage it properly. No, my friend. More money does not create stewardship. It enlarges your present habits. If you cannot govern a small amount, a larger amount will simply allow your disorder to become more expensive. Fourth, examine boundaries. How do you handle another person's time, their property, their body, their confidential information, their authority? Respect is revealed by what you refuse to take without permission. Gifted people become dangerous when they interpret access as ownership. Fifth, examine your hidden choices. What standard governs you after supervision disappears? Law written only on a wall requires an observer. Law written within the heart travels with you. Character is strongest when you do what is right because it is right, not because somebody may discover what you did. Think of an ancient city surrounded by walls. Every truthful report adds a stone. Every promise kept adds a stone. Every appetite restrained adds a stone. Every boundary honored adds a stone. But every excuse compromise opens a breach. Ignore enough breaches and you will eventually blame an enemy for entering through an opening your habits created. Now give yourself a private scorecard. Not intentions evidence. Promises kept, corrections applied, money accounted for, boundaries honored, secret conduct aligned with declared values. Which category is weakest? Choose one. Do not explain it. Do not defend it. Do not blame your childhood, your pressure, your personality, or the people around you. Honest diagnosis is not condemnation. It is the beginning of repair. Today's small duties are rehearsals for tomorrow's influence. Faithfulness in little prepares you for much because it trains the person who must carry much. And these private rehearsals reveal a larger principle. You are not prepared to govern an assignment until you are learning to govern yourself. Dominion is one of the most misunderstood words in leadership. Dominion is not domination. It is not controlling people, collecting titles, or demanding obedience. Dominion is the responsible cultivation, protection, and maintenance of whatever has been entrusted to you. And the first territory entrusted to you is you. Write that down. Leadership begins where excuses end with self-management. The most difficult person you will ever lead is not an employee, a congregation, a family, or a nation. The most difficult person you will ever lead is yourself. You carry appetites, emotions, thoughts, time, and ego. If those 5 areas remain ungoverned, they will compromise every assignment placed under your authority. First, appetite. Appetite says, I want it now. Character asked, does it belong in my future? Hunger is natural, but appetite without boundaries becomes a master. Second, emotion. Emotions are valuable messengers but terrible rulers. Anger can reveal that something is wrong, but anger must not decide what you say. Fear can alert you to danger, but fear must not write your vision. Feelings should provide information. Purpose and principle must make the final decision. Third, thought. Every action receives permission in the mind before it appears in conduct. If you continually entertain resentment, deception, lust, or entitlement, do not act surprised when they eventually request expression. Fourth, time. Your schedule is evidence of government. If everything urgent can invade your day, then nothing important is truly protected. Fifth, ego. Ego demands credit, resists correction, and interprets service as humiliation. An ungoverned ego will sacrifice the assignment merely to preserve an image. This is where discipline enters. Discipline is enforced alignment. It is making your conduct agree with your purpose when appetite, convenience, emotion, or applause recommends another direction. Freedom without discipline is not liberty. It is permission to self-destruct. Choice is a gift of dignity, but every choice activates a consequence. When you honor a sound principle, you release its benefit. When you violate it, you release its penalty. You cannot violate the structure and then rebuke the result. Prayer matters. It can reveal direction, renew the mind, and supply strength. But prayer will not create your schedule for you. It will not tell the truth in your place. It will not close an improper door, restrain an impulse, or make restitution on your behalf. Spiritual power requires responsible cooperation. A person without self-control is like a city without walls. Impressive buildings may stand inside it, but everything remains exposed. gifted, visible, powerful, and vulnerable. So here is the leadership test. If you cannot tell your appetite no, why should anyone trust you to tell money no? If you cannot govern your need for admiration, why should anyone trust you with influence? Character is dominion exercised within. But self-government cannot rest on one dramatic decision. It must become a pattern, repeated disciplines that make integrity predictable. Inspiration can awaken desire, but disciplined repetition forms character. One powerful experience may change your intention. It cannot replace a governing pattern. Character is not built by what moves you once. It is built by what you practice repeatedly. So before the platform grows, define your values. Do not wait until temptation arrives to decide what you believe. Pressure is a terrible place to invent standards. When money is on the table, admiration is surrounding you, and compromise appears profitable, an undefined value becomes a negotiable opinion. Write down what you refuse to sacrifice: truth, stewardship, respect, humility, faithfulness. But do not stop with noble words, because a value that cannot be observed cannot be measured. If you value truth, your reports must be accurate even when accuracy costs you. If you value stewardship, money must be recorded and accounted for. If you value respect, your relationships must contain clear boundaries. If you value humility, someone must possess permission to correct you. Values become character only when they enter conduct. Now examine your schedule. Your aspirations tell me what you admire. Your calendar tells me what you are building. Where is the time for reflection? Where is preparation? Where is focused work? Where are the relationships you claim matter? Where is rest? If everything important exists only in your intentions, then urgency will consume your life and call itself leadership. Create a daily alignment review. At the beginning of the day, identify your commitments. Anticipate the situations most likely to pressure your values. Decide your boundaries before emotion enters the room. Then, at the end of the day, account for your choices. What did you promise? What did you complete? Where did you compromise? What must you repair? No excuses. Excuses preserve the old pattern. Truth permits correction. Practice voluntary restraint. Say no when you could safely say yes. Delay a purchase. Turn off the distraction. End the improper conversation. Leave some appetite unsatisfied. Why? Because every small no strengthens your capacity to refuse a destructive yes when success supplies greater access. Discipline is like a sculptor's chisel. The figure is revealed by removing what does not belong. Every honest action cuts away deception. Every boundary cuts away disorder. Every accepted correction cuts away pride. Repetition gradually reveals the person your assignment requires. But do not confuse character with pretending to be flawless. Perfectionism conceals failure to protect an image. Character tells the truth, accepts consequences, repairs harm, learns, and returns to right conduct. Grace is not permission to repeat destruction. It is another opportunity to realign your life. Choose one recurring private behavior that threatens your future. Name it. Then replace it with a specific practice and give that practice a time, place, and measure. Do not merely say, "I will improve." Structure the improvement. Daily order closes the distance between public potential and private maturity. Yet personal discipline alone is not enough. Influence also needs external safeguards that remain firm when fatigue, temptation, and applause weaken your judgment. Boundaries are not evidence that you are weak. Boundaries are laws chosen in advance to protect what pressure may later persuade you to compromise. A guardrail does not insult the driver. It preserves the journey. Write this down. Never trust a future moment of temptation to create the wisdom you refuse to establish today. First, protect the finances. Keep accurate records. Separate the person approving an expense from the person recording it. Review accounts routinely. Require documentation. And do not create a private exception for the gifted leader. If everyone must account for resources except the person with the largest influence, you have not built trust. You have financed temptation. Second, choose honest peers, not admirers, not dependents, not people whose access disappears if they disagree with you. Choose people who value truth more than proximity and your future more than your comfort. Give them permission to question your motives, examine your decisions, and tell you what applause may prevent you from hearing. Third, build accountability that survives promotion. The standards that governed you before the title must not vanish after the title. Success should increase accountability because it increases consequence. If status places you beyond correction, status has made you unsafe. Fourth, limit access. Determine in advance which settings require another person present, which conversations must be documented, who may access confidential information, who may authorize money, and which relationships require clear boundaries. Access without limits invites secrecy. Secrecy invites dependency. Dependency can make manipulation appear like loyalty. Fifth, protect rest. Exhaustion does not automatically make you immoral, but it weakens attention, patience, and restraint. A tired leader may call irritation, discernment, impulsiveness, courage, and isolation dedication. Rest is not an escape from responsibility. It is part of responsible maintenance. Now watch. A safeguard must be specific enough to interrupt conduct. I will be careful is not a system. Who reviews the record? Who is present in the room? What access is restricted? When does work stop? How can a concern be reported? Procedures protect you when intentions become tired, and never allow relationship to become more important than principle. A friend who conceals wrongdoing is not protecting you. That friend is helping destruction grow in darkness. Love does not excuse what threatens the person and the assignment. Love tells the truth early enough for correction to remain possible. Conduct a pre-promotion audit. Who can confront you? Who can inspect the resources? What access have you restricted? When do you rest? How can someone raise a concern without fearing retaliation? Install these walls while they still feel unnecessary. You do not design a fire exit after the building begins to burn. These safeguards protect more than reputation. They protect the work, the people it serves, and the trust attached to your influence. And that brings us to the final question. Why must your character be protected so carefully? Because an entire future has been entrusted to your gift. Let us return to the door. Your gift may open it. Your skill may move you through it. Your reputation may cause people to welcome you. But only character can carry the weight waiting on the other side. And the consequences are larger than your personal embarrassment. When a leader compromises, a family can lose security. Colleagues can lose confidence. An institution can lose credibility. Employees can lose opportunities. People who depended on the work can lose something they needed. Your private choices may be personal, but they are never isolated once public trust has been placed in your hands. This is why reputation repair and character repair are not the same. Reputation repair asks, how can I look trustworthy again? Character repair asks, what truth must I tell? What harm must I repair? What consequence must I accept? What discipline must I establish? What must change even if nobody applauds the change? Do not confuse image management with repentance. Image management protects appearance. Character protects the future. Now watch. Accountability is love in action. A standard that confronts destructive conduct is not your enemy. A person who refuses to celebrate your compromise merely because you are talented may be protecting your life. Love does not rename disorder to preserve access. Love tells the truth because purpose is too valuable to be sacrificed to personality. Your gift was not deposited in you merely to make you visible. It was given responsibility. It was meant to solve problems, cultivate potential, strengthen lives, and leave something useful for the generation coming behind you. Character is the stewardship of that potential. It keeps the gift serving its purpose instead of forcing the purpose to serve your ego. So take a page and write 4 answers. First, what weakness would success magnify in me? Second, what small test am I currently failing? Third, what specific discipline must begin now? Fourth, who will have permission to ask me whether I am obeying that decision? Do not write a vague answer. Name the behavior. Name the practice. Name the person. Give your conviction a structure, because a decision without a structure usually becomes another good intention. Stop asking for greater visibility while resisting deeper responsibility. Let your private capacity rise toward the level of your public potential. You do not need to fear your gift. You need to govern it. You do not need to reject opportunity. You need to prepare for its weight. Remember the chain. Disciplined choices form trustworthy habits. Trustworthy habits form character. Character preserves trust. Preserved trust allows the gift to continue serving its full purpose. My friends, your future is not protected by talent alone. It is protected by the person you become while developing that talent. So do not merely pray for a door large enough for your gift. Build a life strong enough to remain faithful after it opens.